Everybody, good evening. Um, I know most of you are waiting for the sundown, which is right here, and the topic which I have is cybersecurity. When I put this slide together, uh, I made a mention that cybersecurity should shift left. I never realized that I would land up shifting right and being the last presenter for the day. Ironically, when we do innovation and when we do startups, one of the area which we often ignore or probably push it to the extreme right is cybersecurity. And that's one of the reasons why I want to probably delve in a little bit to whoever is left in the audience. Probably going to spend about 10 minutes on the topic. Ideally, when you build or design any solution, the two things which you talk about. How do you protect your IP and how you protect your data? Conceptually, many of you would be thinking that I'm creating something very simple, very logical, and you put it on cloud, you collaborate extensively on WhatsApp, you collaborate on very simple platforms, and the outcome is the security of the data and the security of your idea is getting compromised heavily. So one of the core area which each and every one of the founders or an idea generator should be thinking about is to move a core factor of your identity, which is your IP, as secure as possible. And don't look at a very fragile cloud solution as you go through the journey. I'll skip this. And heading on to the architecture and design, what you speak, right? So we just heard about the space research, we heard about bringing up ideas to defense. When you build a startup, at the early stages of your startup, you wouldn't even know the future of your organization. So you would build it in a very, I would say, frugal, careless fashion. You would probably be investing a lot of your effort on ideation, but you wouldn't be caring about your identity. How your brand is getting protected probably for the future. And that is where, as you design your ecosystem, you should think about a zero trust architecture on however light the environment is. Three key things which you should think about is one, of course, verify explicitly, and I don't know how many of you would really care about that. We would when you put in and package information, maybe the entire group of your founding group members and team members would be using a single identity. And you would really know that who is contributing what and who is taking the data out, who is packaging it in the right form or outside or inside or whatsoever. And you should think about, as you build your architecture to the next level, you should think about least privileges. Give the minimal access possible for that particular individual in your organization, even if it's a 2-member firm or a 10-member firm. That's extremely critical. The last and the most critical thing is assume a breach. Whatever information you have, you make an assumption that it is stolen already, right? And then how do you progress from there? So that's the fundamental design of zero trust. And why do you do it? As you ideate, you know that in your overall idea, only 5% is critical and unique. 95% is table stake. Everybody would know the patterns of that. That 5% is more critical. Let's think about what Coca-Cola is protecting, right? They're just protecting their X factor or the critical ingredient, as opposed to worrying about their marketing strategy, worrying about their advertising strategy. They have made sure there's an extreme critical protection out there. And last and the most important information I want to mention for tonight is your security breach notification needs to be kind of taken care of. As a small organization, you wouldn't feel that it is important that when you lose something, when you are having an exposure, it's taken very lightly. You will have to record and capture every instances of a breach. For instance, you are a tiny organization and you lost some data, have a very clear capture of the data which you're losing or data which you're missing out. 10 years later, when you become an enterprise and you go up to kind of go out in the market or probably go in for a further round of funding, they would employ a consultant like us and we will dig it up for them. So you'll have to be very critically looking at all your breaches and create an archive of what all data did I kind of push it out of the market. How many duplicates can I build? And so on and so forth. Another area I want to associately mention here is when you kind of, so we were very careless about our IPs. I did mention in the beginning. As you kind of build your organization, an area which we kind of seldom take least respect for is building up an IP and kind of getting filing a patent application, which is really kind of very simple in our current state. All you need to do, clean documentation, which an IT engineer could do, and then present it and make sure that you at least get somebody ratify that for you. Our founders are looking at ideas, they're collaborating, they come in and present in every possible ideation events like this, probably for a giveaway of $1 lakh or a giveaway of a 50,000. But you should also think about what is the impact that idea is making. Is that a moonshot? Is that critical? In that case, you should think about kind of protecting your idea. Give away what you want, but don't give away the whole thing. I just wanted to kind of bring up a very recent example about the cyber attacks, right? Earlier you will think that like an attacker will attack and go and hide. Now, the attackers are attacking and going, and this is just like, you steal something and go straight to the police station and say that I've stolen, right? That's exactly what happened 2 days back. One of the biggest hacking agency, which we kind of faced, the Alpha V ransom gang, they intruded into 2 big companies. One, a very smart startup, which is kind of revolutionizing the way kind of, you do loan systems back in the US. And since the model of operation is extremely critical, they thought nobody's knowing about it. So what the thieves did, but they went straight to the Securities Commission and admitted that we broke into that system. Now, the company is at stake. Meridian is in a trouble. They will have to justify, why didn't I notify? Why didn't I qualify? Why didn't I document? And so on and so forth. So the long story short, why do we do this? It's primarily thieves or people who are stealing your data are no longer doing it for fun. It's $1 million business. Your data, even your password, which is stolen today, is available in the dark web. Interested folks can kind of come in, we can have a conversation, but every little information which is compromised today is available forever. And you need to pay attention to that. And now a quick recap and what we need to really do. We need to think about 2 things as an ideator. 2 things which you should kind of do without fail. Shift compliance and security as your first thing in the journey. You would take it very lightly, but that's going to be the most important thing what big enterprises are today thinking about. Big enterprises had a humble beginning. You need to remember that. We have instances of some of the clients we work with where, so I do have a pharma enterprise which I worked in the past, and they wouldn't even let a researcher talk to another researcher in the firm. Somebody's working on a medicine, that person is isolated 100% inside the firm and would not talk to another person about that idea. Super exclusive. That's not up on the network. That's done in a super secret enterprise level architecture and data protection. So please think about it. And, I don't know how many developers are there inside this room. Wave up your hands. I'd love to see that. Thank you. So this is not news to you, right? You're all part of DevOps, and you know DevOps cycle quite a bit. But you should think about having a threat modeling, which a developer wouldn't even think about. I kind of get some good open source. I would care to just take it, right? I would just care to take it and make best advantage of my couple of hours. But what is that open source doing in your biggest span of code? So you need to do a modeling right in the beginning to identify, how much damage are you creating to your own ecosystem. I'm a great fan of open source, but not a great fan of taking open source without knowing what it is. How many of you have used ChatGPT? Right? You're all a fan of ChatGPT, I'm sure. What did ChatGPT do in the first couple of weeks? They made a big fun of all of us, a big fool of all of us. They created a good ecosystem and then made us ask all possible questions to it for free. And what did they archive? They archived interesting questioning patterns which they couldn't do test data for last 10 years. They made us do that job for free. And every pattern, and now GPT-4 is super smart. I can get a lot of things done. 5 and 6 and 7 is going to get better as it progresses and move forward. All right? So again, coming back to it, when you do development, when you do strategic alignment of any of your products or ideas or prototypes, you all end up digital. And I don't think a single idea you're thinking about today can go without getting digital. And anything which you do digital has the exposure which I just spoke about. You will be super smart, you will be having your idea back in your brain. The minute you put it up on cloud, the minute you put it up on the public domain for collaboration, that's up for grab, that's up for stake. Okay? I wouldn't want to take a lot of time. I think I crashed it into 10 minutes. You have your sundown bang up there. I'm sure you would want to have, I'm really happy. I have 8 minutes ticking there. I want to save this time. But with one humble admission, shift compliance and security to the left. Keep your 5% close to your heart. Don't give up. All right? Thank you and good luck. Thank you very much.